Well, welcome back to another in-depth video from SMG. Now that we've cleaned up in here and I can get to everything and I got rid of all the client projects, they're all done, I wanted to get back to the robot. I'm waiting on some materials and some supplies to continue on with laser blast gun, which we'll get back to next week, but I had some time and I'm gonna have a little time every week. George built this, which is the part that goes right here, and the pipe goes through it for the legs. And you know, we've been making a big deal, or I've been making a big deal out of making these parts. Well, we need the right size bowl, or maybe I should turn my own, make a turntable and put some clay on it, make a template. You know, really? You know how I do things. This bowl looks great. Okay, I mean, it's really, really close. So it's a plastic bowl from the dollar store. Voila, it should be a little bit bigger, but it's close enough. So what I want to do, besides finishing it off, which George started to do, is I want to make the other parts that attach to this that will make this look correct. It's not quite, you know, like that, the way I'd like it to be, but it's okay. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting parts, styrene, like this, and I have this wooden disc that George cut for some other reason, but it happens to be just the right size to go on this. And I tried earlier to do this with the styrene, and I used CA and another piece of plastic behind it and everything, and I found the CA weakened the plastic and it cracked. So what I wanted to try doing today is to get this around like so, put the seam at the back, and I want to put another piece of wood, plastic behind it and pop rivet through it. That is the battle plan. So, and it should work, and the pop rivets will keep it from breaking. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a drill, I'm going to drill some holes in there and start with the pop rivets. I don't know how many of you know about using pop rivets or ever thought about using them before. I used to use them all the time, and then I kind of forgot about them. I'm looking for drill bits. See, I moved them somewhere I'd find them. Oh, there, with the drill. And then I remembered about them again. Now I gotta find there they are. These are the pop rivets themselves. And they come in all shapes and sizes, and so I got this sort of multi-pack, and I think these will be about the right length. So what I want to do, using this piece of plastic, put it here. Now I can't go all the way down or it won't fit this right, so I have to go somewhere in between. So I'm going to turn it this way outside, go like that. That should work out good. And I'm going to drill. I get it all in place. And then I forget to have the drill ready. Okay. Drill is ready. Mary's in a better position to actually capture this wonderful moment. Steve back at the robot, which it's been a really long time. So I'm just going to kind of do this. Would be helpful if it was going at a higher speed. I missed my hand completely, which is good. I'm going to put it through like this. Put it through like that. Get it started. Pop rivet gun is right here. You can get all this at Lowe's. They usually have a washer that goes on the back of this, but they didn't provide any, so hopefully it'll be okay. You squeeze, and boom, you got a nice rivet. So we're going to do that again, right here. I want to be right about there. And if it shows in the back, hey, he's got lots of rivets. So It's going to be up against a wall probably, so no one's going to see it. Not unless you're a rivet counter. So, but I love rivet guns because they're just, look at that. It's one of my favorite toys, and I just sort of forget about them. I mean, they make a really nice finish, and now you're not dependent on glue, and because it's not dependent on glue, it's all going to be fine, right? So now the real trick is to get it lined up right and hold it in there somehow. And I actually got lower than I wanted to be with this somehow. So yeah, it is a little bit. So now I've got to cut off some of that if I can. Just a wee bit. I'm not even going to use that to go by. Just going to do that. The wonderful thing about styrene is how easy it is to work with. Except when it's not. Because unfortunately, I'm trying to go, it likes to bend the way it's been cut from the back. It should be bent forward, not the other way around, so I'm having a little bit of a problem here, but I'll just score through it till it breaks through. Okay, there. Now, yes, that goes together pretty darn well. So I gotta get, I'm going to have to, but you know, pencil me. Put that right about there. Tiny itsy bitsy tiny bitty itsy bit off. Now I bet Gary Hughes knows about the pop rivet gun. Ow! Ooh! Gotta watch that. Now that should fit on there rather well. It does. Pretty good. Not as good as I'd liked it to have, but it does. So that will go there. And what I need now is a piece that goes, I'm working on this part on the base here. It's a piece to go over the top of this that's wider. So it's pretty easy. There. Okay. How wide is the question? Looking at it, probably about, a couple inches maybe. We'll try that. Might be, I think it's actually, I'm going to do 1 3/4 inches. Now I'm comparing this off the blow-up idea, but that was off the original artwork drawn and not necessarily what they worked with dimensionally when they made the robot in the film, which of course was a cartoon, but was based on a wireframe. But the toy, Adam Savage tells me, according to the director himself, who he's friends with, is accurate. So I've always been working off of that. I'm measuring twice. So I cut once because that measure was off. Okay. Now, originally we went and hunted for some L200, which some of you will know as cosplay foam, but it's actually L200. And that's that nice sort of flexible but stiff foam that you can make armor and stuff out of. And I had the idea that maybe I'd use that, and I still may in some spots. up here in Ventura, nobody had it. In fact, they looked at me cross-eyed when I said L200. So we're gonna have this one go around like so, which gives us that little step down here. Mary, can you see that? The little step, and that gives us the ring above it. And then in a second here, you'll be able to see what my madness is all about. Well, you kind of already know that, I guess. So getting this to be, this is going to be interesting. But I have to cut this edge to edge. So I just love styrene. It's instant gratification, instant parts. In fact, George Dare started this. And he did a pretty good job. It's kind of eyeballed, but it's really close. And you might recognize this gun from The Invaders with Roy Thinnes. And I'm going to finish this off for him, and then I'm going to keep it in my collection. So, but this was all done with styrene. And he just, you know, just kind of snap, snap, boop, 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 bump, and came up with a nice little gun. So it's a good start. So I'm gonna put this around like so. Hopefully I haven't botched it. No, it still needs to be a little tighter together. So I'm gonna make another cut. Hopefully this time will be the right one. About there. Bink. Can you believe that? I still need to come in more. So I'll just keep doing it until I get it to fit right. Yes, so we will get back to Laser Blast next week, and we'll be kind of doing dual this and that, both. Ah, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now, with this one, I can't have a piece behind it supporting it, so I'll probably just pop rivet it right into this, which is going to be an interesting task. And then a little glue to keep it from shifting on it, shifting around. So, let's see. That's really easier said than done. So I think what I'm going to do is put an outside piece on it, since it's going to be at the back and we're never going to see it. So if I try to glue this stuff, it's going to be a disaster. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a piece over it like this and pop rivet that in. And that can be the full length. So what I need to do is cut a piece that matches this to go on the outside. And cut that. I thought you might enjoy just kind of seeing this all come together without much editing, so you can see how you can work with styrene if you're not used to it. I'm always amazed how many people really don't know how to work with styrene. They use scissors and stuff to cut it. So we know that fits. So we're going to put this like so. It's a little wider, so I want to cut it down just a tad. Or did I have it the wrong way? Oh, I need it a little bit smaller. A little smaller, a little straighter. It's all right if it's inside slightly. It's hard to snap it when it gets small like this, so you just use a tool like that and you're, oh, perfect. Okay, good. So now we'll use this to drill into. Do half and half. I'm thinking. Because I need this rivet part to be this. Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's try it. See what happens. Nothing would do that it didn't move. The problem is the thickness of the pop ribbon on the back. But you know, it's almost flush if I put it in this way, so. Boy, go in there. There we go. And the stems pop out. Stems crawl in, the stems crawl out. Stems play pinnacle on your snout. Okay. Put another one in. I know you find this very fascinating, don't you? You know, I always wanted a robot. Ever since I was a kid, I tried building my own, doing all kinds of stuff. I always wanted Robbie. Then I saw Lost in Space. I wanted the B9. But I actually think having this robot is cooler. Yours may vary, but yes, that is going to work. Good, good catch on my part, I guess. So here we got to dust that up like that. In a second here, we'll be able to take a look at our handiwork. Now I'll try not to get my finger. I really will. I missed. Pink. And one more. That didn't really, well, it kind of did. Good, good, good. And one more, and I'll try to miss my finger. It looks doubtful, doesn't it? They won't see the blood dripping on the floor from this angle, Mary. No, I made it. You probably don't believe me, so I'll show you my finger in a minute. I'll give you the finger. Okay. See? So, okay, so we got this piece, and that piece is going to squeeze on there like that. Now we can adjust it to the height we want it to be at. And, oh, I put them in the wrong way. Well, that's okay, because we'll fix it. But now, see, where are the rivets on this guy? There's none there. So for now, what I'm going to do, because we're going to have lunch, Mary and I are hungry, I'm going to stick this here. I'm going to put this like so. See, we got a nice little ring down here. We got a ring up here, and then this should sit on it pretty well. And what we're going to do is, now this one's probably going to require 2 strips of this connected together somehow, but it does have rivets on it, big rivets, thank goodness. So, again, just guessing at the thickness just because I want to close here, and so does Mary. That looks right. Make sure I got the same height on both sides. We're going to go same thickness because I think it's relative to the bottom strip. Actually, it's bigger, so we'll make it 2 inches. Pencil. 2 inches. And cut.
You don't mean me.
No, I don't mean you. We're gonna cut the plastic, Mary. Right, Mary? Okay, there we go. Snap, 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 and it will probably be too small, but what's gonna happen after lunch is I'm gonna put this around, all the way around like this, and attach it to the edge of this bowl. And that's that piece right here. We will write that ring right there, and we will put rivets on it and paint this gray, and voila, we have this waist. And then the next step will be, of course, we have to build these 3 rings here. And they're not that thick, but they're pretty thick. And I'm gonna cut a bunch of strips of this, and like a leaf spring, I'm gonna put them inside like this to get the thickness. It'll probably take 3 of them. Let's say possibly 3. And then I'm going to, you see, if I glue these like that, it's not gonna bend very well at all. But if I leave them loose and do that, and then glue them, or pop rivet them, something like that. Probably pop rivets, if there's rivets on those rings, which there's not. So I will have to use glue, but then glue it and go like that. Then they'll stay, and put it in a circle. This will keep that shape. When the glue sets up, it'll stay in that curve. I've done it before, it really does work that way. So we'll get into that a little later. I'm hungry. This is all a very fascinating process, no matter how many times they do it. Whenever you scratch build something, you always run into, how do we do that? I've never done that before. And how can I do it quickly? Because I'm always under pressure with time. So I got the bowl, right? And I made that piece. And I ended up redoing the piece. And I'll show you what I did in a minute. But we got this piece, we got the thinner ring here, and the one that overlaps it, and then the bowl fits into that. And to get the bowl level, what I did is I used, of course, a board on it, and I checked it this way to see if it was level, and then I checked it this way to see if it's level. And then what I did after that is mark the bowl. And you can see that it's level. So that means now I can glue this to this. Now, before we do that, I want you to look inside here and see what I ended up doing. Now, you remember I showed you the leaf spring technique? What I did simply was take 2 strips, the same thickness, and put them together with some CA, and then bent them around, put a clamp on them till the CA dried. And I got this nice thickness that I needed, so that when you look at it from the side here, it overhangs more than just a single sheet, which looks more like the real thing. So what I want to do next is glue this bowl on, and I'm just going to take and just put some glue on the very edge, right here, and then press down. It's just CA, cyanoacrylate. For those of you that aren't familiar with CA, all us professionals throw these slangs around, and I think that's water. Is that? Yeah, it is, because I will wash this. And then I'm going to put it down like so, and then looking at the line, making sure it's level, the way I drew it in there, push it down, and then in a second here, we'll put some kicker on it. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's real close. A little bit down. There. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little kicker to accelerate it a bit. Staying down, not moving. The next thing I want to do now that I've done that, And the last thing I'll be doing for today is to have this ring up here. And there's an instep inside of that as well. But I want to just get this ring on to start with because it'd be really cool if we got that far. So I'm going to cut another piece of plastic, do the leaf spring thing again, and wrap it around. And we'll come back and check that in a minute. I got it. And it's a little off, but it's not, you know, I mean, the whole thing is going to be a little off because it's not a cartoon. So we got the base, and you see there's the original wood disc that I used, and you can see I got the nice step on it. I got the other lip up here. I'm showing you the back side. I got this little inset here that it's supposed to have, and I may add a little bit more thickness to this with some L200. And a little bit to here, maybe, I don't know. I have to wait till I see it all together if it really bugs me that it's off by an inch, which for you rivet counters I know will be detrimental. But for me, anybody who sees this, that's the Iron Giant. So we got this part which I did a little work on, not much, just enough so we could get a look at the part finished. You might want to get back further, but there we go. And that's that whole section that goes here. That's it. So now all I have to do is build the waist section with some strips of styrene that I've doubled up to get the thickness on. And I'll probably actually use a round of styrene for the waist section too, since I don't really want it to flex. If I did, I'd have it out of foam, but foam will rot in time. But I think this came out really good. I really do. I'm very pleased with it. I did it in like, what, 3 hours. Now, granted, it needs rivets and putty and details, but I mean, it's really nice. So that's a done deal, at least to there. We now have a new part. I was just looking at these that George did, and they're okay, but what I'm gonna do is to make these, they go here, of course. What I'm going to do to make these is I'm going to make the rounds like he did here, and I'm going to take about 4 or 5 thicknesses of styrene and do the same thing, bend it around with glue around the shape till it sets up, and then I'm going to cut using a template that shape out of it and do 2 of them, and then when this ends up being finished being cut, this will fit inside here like you see this does. So we'll have this ball in there, and I'll be able to hook the rings to it and stuff to start working on the arm. So we'll start doing little bits of that next week. Of course, we will be back to the laser blast gun and a whole bunch of more cool stuff, but I feel so great to be getting back to this.